Hello everyone and welcome to the 5th episode of my devlog series about the development of a simulation game Leah. In this episode you will see the whole process of developing a new system in my game, producing goods. This system is not finished yet, so this video is just part 1. Subscribe to see part 2 next week. In the previous episode I showed you how to make timed events and how to say the progress of them. This was a preparation for the next step, producing goods over time. So let's dive in to see how it works. The first thing I started working on was Factory Sprite. I imagined this building to be made out of red bricks and be more massive than the houses. However, when I showed the final picture of the factory next to the house to my boyfriend, he immediately noticed how unbalanced the doors and windows looked. So, in the final result, I resized it and also made the doors smaller. The process of making this building is approximately the same as the house making, adding shadows, changing the texture and playing with color tones. The difference is that I had to consider the red walls. If I had added too much green, they would have ended up looking dirty. I want to share with you why I pay so much attention to art in my game. It is my passion project, as I would call it. I have dreamed about developing the perfect simulation game long time ago, when I was playing such games. I thought that I would create the perfect game, collecting all the best things from those games that I played. Of course, now I understand that there is no such thing as perfect, especially for creators like me, who want to improve more and more. But I will always strive for perfection. Art is the first thing you notice when you see the game. It is something that you will continue seeing while you play. It tells a story without any words. My mom is a painter, so I know what it's like to express yourself with shape and color. And this game art is how I see the fantasy world. To make things easier, I drew a few sketches of the factory UI in different stages. It will be used later on in other factories or produce buildings. In general, there will be 3 stages of produce: before produce, in progress, and ready. One idea that I had was that a factory can take resources to make goods, but I decided to go with a different approach. A factory produces goods over time, and the only thing that it needs is workers. Also, I had to make a skip button somewhere. If it was just one product, it would be a large button in the middle. But I wanted to make 3 products in the window, so each product has to have its own skip button. At first, I thought that better goods will require a factory upgrade and another worker, so I drafted a slot for product that will have a picture of goods and an employee who is making them. And finally, I decided how the produce system would work. A factory can produce only one good at a time. For better goods, you need more people to make. I also considered making tabs in this window, but I thought it would be too complicated for me as well as for the player. Next, I started designing the window in Unity. I found a wooden panel hanging on the ropes on PNG tree, which was similar to what I used in the house members window. Here is a tip for you. This website can be used to find UI elements for your game. If you are looking for something specific, instead of a basic UI pack, you can search here. For example, the mushrooms on the wooden panel are from this site too. Skipping ahead, I want to say that I changed the UI of a product because it didn't have all the necessary information. Here you can see that it has time of produce and profit, but later I added time left to produce. Also, this higher button will be removed from the product prefab into a separate one because of the way that the factory works. More employees equals better goods. In general, I like the way that factory UI is turning to be. After making the graphics for the building, I started working on the functionality of the game. I have put factory into the houses tab for now, because I had to test it quickly, but in the future I will make a separate tab for industrial buildings that produce goods. I implemented factory window in the game, but it had no functionality. Considering that I have already made the house window, this one was easier to make. This is the thing with development. Some systems are really similar, so once you have made one, the other will go faster. It will still take some time, but the number of bugs will be smaller. I made buttons for hiring and a window with all the available people. Created a set of events to make the two systems communicate with each other, but at this point, the factory only showed a message about someone being hired, so it was a long road of coding ahead. Firstly, I made the town manager to remove the hired person from the list of available people. And it was even saving the list of people. Secondly, I had to save who's working on a factory. Honestly, this process was hard. Something was not working all the time. At first, I had errors with saving. The factory initialization at the beginning of the game had thrown an exception. The problem turned out to be with deserialization. I think this is worth telling because it might be a common problem with saving systems, but surprisingly, I have never heard anyone mention it in their tutorials. If you are in the process of developing your game, you would probably have to add something to your save along the way. For example, I only had house information saved, but then I added factory information. The thing is, when you first run the game, your factory information will be null because it didn't exist when you were saving the last time. And you will get an error that the object is null. To solve this problem, I found this way. There is a method on deserialized that is called after deserialization. You can check in it if any of your fields or objects are empty and initialize them there. In the past, you probably noticed that my map was changing all the time despite the fact that I already had a saving system. This happened for two reasons. One I've just told you, and the other is that I modified my code while the game was running. It caused saving fails. Finally, I managed to get the employees saving properly. The next thing was to get the produce running, which works similar to building timer that I told you about in the previous episode. And this is how the game looks now. The progress of your production is saved, as well as the employees that are working there. You can hire somebody from available people in town, and if you do so, you will get another, better good in progress. However, I still have a problem with timer, because it does not reset correctly when switching from one product to another. It resets only if you reopen the factory window. I will try to correct it in the next episode, but as you can see, the saving works well. This is it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to see the part 2 of factory making. Give this video a thumbs up and I'll see you next week. Bye!